Stars are whispering what they've seen. City lights glittering like a dream. A midnight serenade, or so it seems.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome. Hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you're joining us from in the chat box. Can you drop where you're joining us from in the chat box? Thank you so much for joining us today. Hi, Kusi. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, JB. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let's drop where we are joining us from the chat box. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be starting shortly. You're welcome, Grace. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Olanike. Thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to our section today. Please let us know where you're joining us from. Hi, Tolulope. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you're joining us from. Hi, Yomobalanli. Thank you so much for joining us in today's section. Really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's section. Your presence is highly appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your presence. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you. Please let us know where you're joining us from. Thank you so much for joining us. Your presence is highly appreciated. Okay. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. Your presence is highly appreciated. So, hello, everyone. My name is Timilade, and I will be your host for today. And I am honored to welcome you all to today's event, the role of self-care in mental wellness. Today, we explore on the transformative power of self-care and how it can improve our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. I am excited to share this journey with you all, and I am confident that today's event will inspire us to make a self-care a non-negotiable part of our daily lives. So let's get started. I'm going to call on Mr. Dari to give us the opening prayer.
All right, Heavenly Father, we say thank you for this meeting. I pray for every single person at the sound of my voice that as we gather here today to learn and we have some retrospectives into our lives, that we do not feel bad, but just see how we can take care of ourselves and our mental health. And I pray clarity for anyone that is confused on this call. Also pray for the speaker that we're about to have an amazing session. may we always look back to this and even go back and watch the recording and see how we can always improve. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Dari. So moving on, I'll be calling on the founder of ASADS to give us a brief overview of what ASAD is all about. Please let's give him a virtual applause.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Darius Sobele, and I'm the founder of Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad. So happy to see everyone here. Just a quick overview of ASADS. ASAD started in late 2017, December. I used to be suicidal and depressed, and I was able to come out of it, hence just to help people. I mean, what happened was they just created a WhatsApp group and told people to join. I mean, ASADS means Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, and we had over 200 and some people join, and the group was like filled up in less than 6 hours. And then from there, I told everyone to introduce themselves, and everyone started talking about how they were dealing with depression. And that's when I knew that the work was to see how we could help people internally before we go external. And then from there, we've been able to grow. We've evolved, and now the idea is just to create a buffet of mental health solutions, basically. So we have a WhatsApp forum that has close to 1,000 persons on there, where we have conversations every Monday. And then we have a Telegram community that also has close to 1,000 people, where we have conversations every Friday by 8 p.m. So you could join many of these groups, any of this platform. Chika, please kindly drop the link to the forum or the Telegram community so that people on the call can join. Aside from that, we have this free mental health training that happens every second Sunday of the month. And one of the reasons why we do it is that we live in a cancel culture. Many people are so quick to cancel people. And what we just thought about was maybe someone is just speaking from a place of ignorance, which is why you're going to get knowledge today from our amazing speaker. And one of the reasons why we also do this is just to be able to educate people. We run external trainings to organizations. We did trainings for Nike last year in Netherlands, Access Bank, Access Pension. So you can always reach out to us. These sessions are paid, but this is free. We also have what's it called? Physical support groups that will be happening every last Saturday of the month for men. We're focused on men this year. So you can check out our page to be able to know more about this. This is really important for the men. And then aside from that, we have what you call the ASAD listeners, who are mental health first aiders that you could reach out to, talk about your problems. They are not professionals, they are not therapists, but they are mental health first aiders that will also be able to help you out regarding whatever it is that is bothering you. And then we also have other activities such as our SAT store and our annual mental health speaks event. And then to volunteer with us, you could volunteer for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. So we're doing recruitment towards the end of March, right? In case you plan to join us. I must also confess to you that we mean business here. We're really structured with our system. And I should have said this earlier on, but guys, every 40 seconds, someone takes their life. So you have about 700 to 800,000 people dying by suicide every year, right? In Nigeria, we're over 200 and something million. We don't have up to 1,000 registered mental health professionals. Now, what that means is that even if we had that 1,000, one person has to attend to about 200,000 people, which is crazy, right? And so we're just trying to look for serious-minded people, people that really want to volunteer, right? Because when people hear volunteering, they think it's just about showing up for events. For example, this amazing event you're about to experience was as a result of sacrifices of some volunteers in putting structures and systems in place for you to have an amazing experience that you're about to have, right? So we are looking for serious-minded people. For now, you can easily join the forum just to experience our activities, sign up for the event, and maybe hopefully in the future, you will be able to join us. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dari, for that wonderful insight. Moving on, we are having our icebreaker section. Still going to be given to us by Mr. Dari. Please welcome Mr. Dari.
All right. Okay, can everyone sit up, please? I want us to sit up and take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Now take a deep breath in again. Breathe out. Now this time around, I want you to take a deep breath in as I count to 3, right? So take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Now breathe out. Now this time around, I'm going to count to 5. So you're going to take a deep breath in as I count to 5, and then you hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then I'll count to 5 for you to breathe out. So it's going to be 5, 5, 5. So now take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's do it one more time. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's do it one last time. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So how many of us feel relaxed? Can you raise your hand in the chat box? Confirm if you feel relaxed, or just drop it in the chats like, oh, I feel relaxed. Now, I want to beg everyone that these are exercises you can always do from time to time whenever you have anxiety or you're worried about the future. And so, yeah. So over to you, Temilade.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derry. That was really relaxing. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's welcome Grace to give us an introduction of the speaker.
Thank you very much, Temilade. So our speaker today is none other than Aduralere Ladipo. So this is a bit about our speaker. Aduralere Ladipo is a psychologist with over 4 years of experience in mental health training, suicide crisis intervention, counseling, human resource, and volunteer management. She's also an addiction professional with a deep interest in early childhood development, substance abuse management, and continuum care for adolescents and young adults. In addition to all of this, she's a learned human resource leader with a great passion for research and learning in the workplace. Please, without further ado, let's give a virtual round of applause for our speaker, Aduralere Ladipo.
Hi, everyone. Please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good to be here. And I'll start by saying a very big thank you to ASADS and the ASADS team for thoughtfully taking time to put together this program. It's interesting, going through my work on it, my slides and everything. I found that it's actually very needful at this point in time. So thank you, ASAD's team, and thank you to everyone that joined us today. I hope you get to enjoy the training, get clarity, and also have questions for yourself and also for us here as well. So thank you. I'd like us to start by doing a bit of grounding exercise, which is mindfulness, just to introduce our topic. It's the role of self-care. So let's do a bit of grounding exercise. So if you can get a piece of paper like I have here, I'll rustle it a bit. Let's all try to get a piece of paper. And let's rustle it a bit. If you have a piece of paper, you can grab one. So just sit comfortably where you are. Relax. I'm glad we did a breathing exercise, so we should be calm now. So just rustle it a bit. It could be a newspaper, it could be a white paper, it could be something you've written on before, it could be tissue, whatever paper you have. Let's just hold it in our hands. I see some comments here. Someone said, I have bread in my hand. Can I use it? So we're using paper. All right, that was really cool. So we're using paper. Let's hold it in our hands. We're going to be visualizing this paper. This is a mindfulness exercise, like I said. So let's take a moment to pay attention to the color. We all have different colors of paper. So I'm holding a white paper. So you tell yourself the type of paper you're holding since we cannot hear our voices. So tell yourself the type of paper you're holding, observe the paper, everything on the paper, try and identify it, and you tell yourself what you have. So right now, I have a white paper. You know, it has brown ink, you know, words are written in brown ink on my paper. So you can do that for yourself. I've also written some things on my paper, and it's, yeah, with blue ink, but it's a white paper. So after identifying the color of your paper, I want you to feel the weight of your paper. Is it heavy? Is it light? What do you have in your hand? Let's mindfully observe what we have in our hands. So my paper is not heavy, it's very light, but it's not heavy, it's just light. So try and observe what you have in your hand. Then also the touch, like what does it feel like? Mine is kind of rough. It has rough edges because of how I rustled it or how I squeezed it. So it's kind of rough. And the sound, it has a very, let's observe the sound of your paper as well. So mine has a very, because it's rough, it's kind of coerces. I don't know the name of the sound, but it's kind of coarse and it's sharp. It sounds sharp. Mine sounds very sharp. All right. Okay. So when we're done with that, I'd like to hear a few comments. Thank you for participating. So I'd like to hear a few comments on what you had with yours. Okay. Okay, Blessing says the paper is rough now. Grace says ours is squeaky. Okay. All right. Oluwatobi says ours is hard. Sanya, JB, the paper is light and brown writing and very rustled. Nice, thank you. All right, so can we just drop a few comments on how, you know, that exercise was to you? Because it's a mindfulness exercise. So how was it to you before I explain it and, you know, what it can achieve in every other area of our lives? Just a few comments on what you have experienced and how you felt with it. Okay, someone said, it made me pay more attention to the paper. Right, which is good. Who else? Okay. Makes me conscious of what I'm holding. It brought my wandering mind to the moment. Fantastic. You guys are spot on. I noticed small details. Interesting. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That was very engaging. So the benefit of this in our everyday lives is that it helps us to focus on the moment. And, you know, in doing this, in doing any form of mindfulness exercise with whatever you have in your everyday life, you know, it's as little as eating. When you're eating, paying attention to the smell, the taste, the ingredients that you can identify, you know, the texture of what you're eating. It helps you bring your mind to the food that you are eating and helps you enjoy that food. And also with the paper, it brings your mind to the center. It helps you not to wander, like someone said, and it helps you to focus. So take, for example, this is a serious task and you have to put your mind at it. You already have your mind focused on a lot of things, but focusing on that task mindfully means that you are paying attention to what you're doing. You're concentrated on the details of the task. You are understanding the texture of the task in your mind. Every task has a texture. Sometimes when you're performing a particular task, you can feel very relaxed. So you can say, oh, it was smooth, it was easy, it was calm. You can describe what you do, you know, by mindfully attending to whatever you're doing. At the end of that activity, you are able to describe it to the detail, to the smallest detail. That's why I liked what someone said, that, you know, it brought her mind to the details. So thank you very much, guys. So without further ado, we can move on to our presentation. Correct, Temilade? Temilade, can we move ahead? Do you hear
Yes,
me?
you can go on. Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for participating. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to be sharing my screen quickly on what we have today. Okay. So you're going to forgive my background noise because, like I mentioned to my host, I am babysitting today. So that is me. I'm trying to mindfully attend to this task and also mindfully check on the person I'm babysitting. So you're going to pardon me if you hear noises on the background because it's a very sweet boy. All right. So let me know when you see my screen. It's a full screen now. Okay, can I go ahead? I need response because I can't see the chat box now.
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so as I was introduced, my name is Adura
You can go ahead,
Ladipo,
I can
and
see
I
your
am
screen.
okay, thank you. So as I was introduced, my name is Adura Ladipo. I am a clinical psychologist. And one fun thing about me is that I can be very goofy when I'm comfortable around you. Okay. So today we're talking about the role of self-care in mental wellness. And to make this very engaging, we're going to perform another exercise, which is you identifying some certain things about your own mental health and your own self-care, right? So let's start with the first question. What is mental wellness to me? I'd like you to take time out to write that down. You know, just it's for you, right? When I need us to put anything in the comment section, I would let you know. So first thing I want you to identify is what is mental wellness to you? Because it's important that before anybody goes ahead and start telling you the theories and the applications and practical applications that they have used or they have seen other people use or research has proven, right? It's good for you to know what works for you, because at the end of the day, for it to be practical for you to be able to make it actionable is something that you have to do, right? It's something that has to be personal to you for you to do it. So what is mental wellness to you? That's the first question. I'd like to see you take time to do that. Thank you. Then also, the next question is, what is self-care to me? What does self-care mean to you? Because that's what our topic is about, and it has to be personal. What are the common stressors affecting your own mental health? And I'll be debunking some myth about that, you know. But what are the common stressors affecting your own mental health? What are your current self-care practices that you engage in? What type of self-care practice do you do often? I'm getting responses. Okay. All right. Okay, sorry. So what are the barriers that prevent you from practicing self-care regularly? And which of these self-care types do you struggle with the most? That's the ones you have identified. Which one do you struggle with the most? Let's just take a few minutes to attend to those questions. It's personal for you and it's going to help you when you intentionally or consciously and consistently apply this in your everyday life, because that's what self-care is all about. Also, I said I was going to debunk the myth about mental health and mental illness, because every time, a lot of people mix mental health with mental illness. Mental health is not mental illness. Just the same way physical health is not physical illness. We have mental health and we have physical health. Mental health is the health of your mind. Physical health is the health of your body. It's as simple as that. Your mind has a health system, health structure, health pattern. It has a way it can be healthy. Your mind can be healthy and your mind can be unhealthy. The same way your body can be healthy and your body can be unhealthy. So the common stressors that affect your mental health can bring about some discomfort to your mind. The common stressors that affect your mental health can be unhealthy patterns that are disrupting the functionality of your mind, right? Then also the common stressors of your mental health can eventually lead to a mental illness. All right, I'll move forward while we just, ruminate on that. Okay. Okay, before I start, I want to see definitions of mental health in the in the chat box. Okay. Mental wellness, someone already said mental wellness is the ability of an individual to achieve their full potential. Right. For you to achieve your full potential. Mental health is a good state of mind, emotion, and brain. To me, mental wellness means being happy, healthy, and able to handle life changes. Mental wellness to me means being able to enjoy life and being able to handle stress without being overwhelmed. Love it. To me, mental wellness means having a rested, functional, and rational mind. We are all gurus. So, right, I'll start with wellness. So, wellness is the existence of a positive purpose in life. Wellness is gratifying work and recreation. Wellness is a blissful relationship. Wellness is a sound physical well-being. Wellness is a nurturing environment and overall happiness. So, for you to say you're well, I hope you're doing well is a very common phrase we use in our mail, but saying, I hope you are satisfying all of these areas that has been mentioned above. It's not just the current state of your mind. It is the existence of all of this contents or all of these qualities in your mind, in your life. So wellness is not just looking at what you are doing at that point in time, which of course is good, but what is the holistic property of your mind? When you look at different areas of your life, what is wellness in those areas of your life? I'll move on. Then I went ahead to talk about understanding mental wellness, because as we have wellness, which is general, we have mental wellness, which brings in everything. Mental wellness brings in everything that wellness is talking about. When mental wellness looks into everything that wellness is talking about here, because your mind is like the motor or your computer that processes everything that is happening to you in your everyday life. Your mind is going to is responsible for helping you go through the processes of achieving the purpose of your life. Your mind is responsible for giving you that kick to feel gratified at work, to feel gratified with external or recreational activities. Your mind is responsible for helping you understand the content of your relationship and ensuring that you make it blissful. Your mind is responsible for ensuring that, you are aware when your physical health is having is having any form of hindrance. Maybe when your physical health is being affected, your mind gives you that nudge, helps you to understand that kick. Your brain helps you to know these things. Your mind helps you to understand what a nurturing environment consists of. Your mind helps you to know if you are well nurtured or if you are malnourished. So, right. So I said here that mental wellness is a state of well-being, which we all know, and it is where individuals can cope with life changes, work, and contribute meaningful to their community. This is a general WHO definition of mental wellness. And it's important for us to look into these aspects because we face challenges every day. And the definition of challenges also is dependent on your perspective, on your perception, on the way your mind views things. So challenges is not problem or gbasgbos. Challenges is not something that is there to come and make you feel like you've been abandoned. Challenges are hurdles that we need to cross in life every day. So we have challenges on a spectrum where you have challenges from mild, moderate to severe. And all of this mild, moderate to severe differs according to our unique life experiences. And challenges also depends on our unique physiological and psychological makeup. That means that it depends on what has formed you over time, physically and physiologically. The way your brain and body is wired depends on how you also cope with challenges. So for you to be well, that means there are some certain components and properties that you need to have to help you effectively go through various types of life challenges. Mental wellness also is the state of well-being that allows individuals to cope with work. Work varies. We are all in different fields, and some of us find our work challenging, some of us find our work enjoying. So what would you say of someone that has a work life that is rigorous and they process it with emotional sadness? It's definitely that person's mental wellness will be affected. So mental wellness also means that in as much as all of this is going on in your life, you are able to contribute meaningfully to the community, like what the ASADS community is doing for us right now. You're able to, irrespective of what's going on, you're able to contribute into someone else's life. You're able to impact someone's life. You're able to make someone else feel better. It's as little as giving someone else a smile. You see maybe a beggar on the street and you don't have money to give them, they're by your window, and you can just make them feel okay after just coming to your window. You leave them feeling better than they came to your window. It's a huge and positive state of mental wellness, right? Also, I said here that it is an internal resource that helps you think, feel, connect, and function. So mental wellness is components that makes you to think appropriately, feel appropriately, connect appropriately, and function appropriately. It consists of active processes that helps you to learn, grow, and also gives you the ability to flourish. That's what I think. I believe that, so this is my own theory, that you're able to process that. I believe that you're able to learn, because every day, there's this saying that we are learning all through life. We're learning every day. You have a learning mind, you have a learning persona. This person is able to learn every day of their life, right? So I believe that in life, every experiences that we have is teaching us. It is for to teach you, it is for to grow you, and it's for to make you flourish. That is my own school of thoughts. And I believe, so that's why even when we experience something negative, when you look at it from the perspective that this thing is helping you learn, right? Somebody is writing on my screen. Someone is writing on my screen. Thank you. So I'm saying that when you experience, whatever you experience in life, when you look, we can look at them from the perspective that I am learning from this experience, I am growing from this experience, and it can make me flourish at the end of the day. It is for to make me flourish. Right. So the dimensions of mental wellness. We have various dimensions of mental wellness, and these dimensions of mental wellness, that means it cuts across various areas of our lives. We have pioneers of this. It started way back as 1987. But, when we put things into theory in the field of psychology or in the medical field, it is so that you can understand that people have gone through rigorous work to look at what each and every one of us are doing and put a structure to it, put a pattern to it, make you see these things that you're doing as not like it's not only you that is experiencing it, but you're not, and that's also you're not doing something wrong. And also when we are doing something wrong and we find some theories that explains it, it helps you to know that this is what is happening and there are patterns and ways that it can be resolved. So coming back to the dimension of mental wellness, we have in no particular order, we have the physical, we have spiritual, we have emotional, occupational, intellectual, environmental, financial, and social. So this particular model I'm using was pioneered for, development in substance use, right? For you to really understand, like in substance use and mental wellness, yes. But there are people that have also used it for various areas of life, and it can also be used for any walks of life. So for substance use and mental health service administration, by substance use and mental health services administration, they believe that physically, spiritually, emotionally, occupationally, intellectually, environmentally, financially, and socially, we can flourish. We can learn, we can grow and flourish, in my own words. Right. So what does this mean to be well physically? That means you're maintaining a healthy body through various physical activities, right? Then also, what does it mean to have mental wellness, or to be mentally well, or to be well spiritually? Or that means you are seeking meaningful purposes. You are seeking meaning to your life. You are seeking meaning to whatever you're doing, and you are also doing your best to align, with your personal values. Because at the end of the day, whatever we learn spiritually in whatever religion we practice, everything is to help you align with yourself, with your higher self, with your higher being. And in life, we have personal values that guide whatever we are doing. So spiritually, it is to seek meaningful connections with your values. Whatever you're introducing into your life should align with your personal values. Right. Then emotionally, this is talking about being well and engaging life from a learning process. You are learning continuously and you are learning continuously and you are managing the emotions that comes to you from different challenges that you face. You are able to function emotionally. You are able to apply emotional functionality or emotional intelligence to whatever you are doing, right? And example of what this can be is coping with stress effectively. This can also be self-awareness and of emotional regulation. Self-awareness and emotional regulation here is talking about understanding yourself, knowing who you are, like I mentioned, spiritually, having knowledge of your personal values and applying it to everything that life is presenting to you. And in the course of applying it to everything that life is presenting to you, you are going to be I've lost that word. You're going to be bringing forth different types of emotions. Pardon me for that. You're going to be using different type of emotions. When you receive a letter, for example, that consists of you being promoted or you getting a visa, your emotional response is going to be happiness, is going to be excitedness, is going to be, some people can be erratic with their behavior towards such things. Some people might be calm, right? But inside of you, you're going to be happy, right? So emotional wellness means you're able to apply the appropriate type of emotions to what is being presented to you. Then for occupational wellness, I have here in my own notes that this means that I am able to align my values with my dreams and aspirations, being able to put the appropriate steps and processes to take me to what I want for myself concerning work, concerning career, concerning my, what's it called? My interests. Yes, and being able to know that in the course of doing this, I might experience stress and fatigue, and knowing the time to take the appropriate type of rest that is necessary at those points in time. Then intellectually, we are looking at engaging different learning activities, being able to read, being able to solve problems, being able to stay creative, stay informed, stay open-minded, develop skills that aligns with your values. Then for the next one I am taking here is I'll look at environmental wellness. Yes, and for environmental wellness, yes, I put down here that creating a safe and clean living environment. Thank you. I was given a flower by the baby and babysitter. Thank you. So for environmental wellness, this means you are creating an environment that is suitable and that aligns with your values. You're creating an environment that is supportive for you and that is positive for you. You are also creating an environment that reduces your exposure to things that do not align with your values. You're creating an environment that reduces your exposure to negative influences, to toxic materials, toxic physical materials, or materials that are not even eco-friendly. These things might seem like, I am speaking a lot, but when we look at it carefully, you find out that all of these things are important. Imagine you have a very scattered environment and you want to work. there's a way it disrupts the flow of whatever that you are doing, as compared to when, okay, you realize that, okay, this place is not looking appropriate for me to function, then you clean it up. There's something it does to your mind. There's a form of peace that you realize when you keep a clean environment and you want to function in a clean environment. You feel rested. I don't know if anybody enjoys cleaning, but when you clean, after cleaning, you take a bath and you come back to your bed to relax. There's this thing it does to your mind. That's why the pioneers of these dimensions believe that it is important. And also, when we are looking at mental illness or any form of mental disorder, there are some mental disorders that uncleanliness is a huge factor as to what we consider for disruptors of mental illness. We look at that factor as something that it's important for an individual. And we look at the factor as something that should be put into consideration when the caregivers of a person are laying complaints about the way a person's cleanliness is, or the way a person's environmental lifestyle is. Right. So, and there's also the social, that means maintaining good relationship, being able to socialize appropriately, being able to give off the right vibes in the environments that you find yourself, being able to relate with different people from different walks of life, from different background. Not that you are like, you cannot talk to people that are not your family. When we have those type of, characteristics, when we have those type of characteristics, it is worth considering for, any mental health checks, right? So I'm going to move forward quickly. But before I move forward, I want to know if we have anything to say in the chat box first, please, so that I know that I'm not talking to myself. Okay, so Chika Zolu says, social awareness is the ability to relate with people from different backgrounds, ability to maintain. Okay, someone said we're following Ma. Okay, absolutely. All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to continue. So I have here the factors that cause a decline in mental wellness. High stress can cause a decline in mental wellness. Social isolation, impaired performance in daily activities, economic and social pressure, mental health stigma. These are things that can cause a decline in mental wellness. When one is stressed and you want to perform a task, we've all experienced being stressed before. There's a way it impacts on the mind. There's a way it also impacts on the task that you're about to do. There's a way stress also affects our relationship. One way or the other, when one is stressed, each and every category or dimensions of wellness is impacted by stress. Physically, spiritually, emotionally, occupationally, intellectually, environmentally, financially, and socially, stress impacts those areas. And we'll talk about dealing with stress in the self-care part, but these are factors. Social isolation is a factor that can decline in mental wellness. We have introverts, but being an introvert is not the same thing as socially isolating yourself. Introverts can function even in interaction with other people. You might perceive them as shy, but when they are speaking on a field or in an aspect that they are knowledgeable about, they will function. They can be quiet in a room. However, when you interact with them, they would respond. But social isolation is different. Social isolation is this person is not interacting. This person would rather stay, by themselves without interacting. This is not self-love. This is not the fact that, okay, you have gotten to the position where you know that you function alone. A socially isolated person is easily irritable when they are interacting with other people. They see faults with the engagement of other people. They see issues with things that other people are finding funny, finding relaxing, because they'd rather just be on their own. Then social isolation can be linked to a lot of other mental health disorders. So impaired performance in daily activities is a factor that can cause decline in mental wellness. When we have unforeseen occurrences leading to accidents and this person is unable to stay mobile as they used to, this can cause a decline in mental wellness, because there's this constant rumination of how they used to function, and there hasn't been the realization, or they haven't come into the acceptance of their current state of functionality. It can cause a decline in mental wellness before someone can start, functioning appropriately, or before someone can start seeking help. When you haven't sought help for an impaired performance in daily activity, it can cause decline in mental wellness. So there's also economic and social pressure. There is mental health stigma. And right, I'm trying to scroll up. Right. There's mental health stigma. Then also here, I'm looking at core values of mental wellness. We have core values of mental wellness. And for the core values of mental wellness, we're looking at the holistic and proactive approach to attending to mental wellness. We're looking at focus. We're looking at emotional resilience. We're looking at stress management. We're looking at social isolation. We're looking at healthy coping mechanisms, not attached to a mental health condition. We're looking at self-care and mindfulness. So what does this mean? What would somebody tell me I'm trying to talk about when I say core values of mental wellness? What do you think I'm trying to talk about when I say core values of mental wellness? I'd like to receive some comments. Thank you. When you say core values of mental wellness, what do you think we're talking about? Anybody? Things that foster mental wellness. Right. So I'll take that. So what makes one have a good mental wellness, health? Or what makes one flourish mentally? What makes one adapt mentally? One thing you first of all need to know is that mental wellness is not attached to a mental health condition. What I mean by that is that you don't have to be ill or mentally sick or mentally ill before you can adopt mental wellness as your daily practice. And the beauty of mental wellness is that it is a proactive approach, meaning that it is action-based. You need to act on it. You need to do things to achieve that state of well-being. There are activities that are required for mental wellness. It's not just us talking about it. It is doing, it is you have laid down activities that you have planned out for yourself to do. That was why I asked us to take that activity that we did earlier. Then also, mental wellness requires focus. It requires you to focus. It requires you to be intentional. It requires you to be consistent. It requires you to ensure that you take daily steps towards what you have planned out for yourself. Hence why I said, what's mental self-care for you? What are the activities that you want to do? I went back to I asked us to personalize it at the beginning because it is individual based. It's not based on what I'm going to tell you here. It's based on what it means for you. And from here on, we're getting into the core of what our topic is talking about. So mental wellness requires emotional resilience. As much as it requires emotional resilience for people that are emotionally resilient, it also helps and supports individuals to build emotional resilience. For people that exercise, for any of us that exercises in the comments, in the participants claim, you find out that when you start, it's like very daunting. It's challenging. You know, some people say it's difficult. Some people say exercise is not for me because it's not just a physical activity. You're also building your mind. You're also building your emotions. That is why people that exercise will tell you that it's like a 360 approach to wellness for them, right? And also another core value for mental wellness is stress management. It helps you to manage your stress. How does mental wellness help anyone to manage stress? Mental wellness helps you manage stress by understanding, you're getting to understand your own threshold. We all have threshold. When you prioritize yourself, basically mental wellness is talking about prioritizing your self-care, prioritizing your healing, your growth, your learning. Because when you are doing any of this activity, you are strengthening your mind. And in turn, once your mind is strengthened, your physical body is also strengthened, your emotions are strengthened, and all of those dimensions are also affected. So stress management with mental wellness in stress management is helping you know how to recognize yourself, your threshold to stress, and is also helping you to know what to do and how to do what you need to do when you feel stressed. Also, the core values, another thing is that overall, I think I should take that last. So I'll look at healthy coping mechanism. Apologies with my background noise. So I'll look at healthy coping mechanisms for mental as a core value for mental wellness. It gives you different healthy approaches that you have developed yourself. This is tailored to your individual need, your individual values, your individual interests. So it provides you with healthy coping mechanisms that you can use in attending to all the dimensions of wellness. That's those areas, every facets of your life. You develop healthy coping mechanisms for the challenges, for managing challenges in those areas. Also, another thing is social connection. Mental wellness, a core value is social connection, and another core value is mindfulness, which is one of the things that we did, and which is what I explained to us at the beginning, that mindfulness for mental wellness means being focused, being present, rather, when you are doing anything, any activity that you have set your mind to, not allowing your mind to wander, but rather paying in-depth attention to what you are attending to at that point in time. Like when the baby I am attending to right now gave me these flowers, the first thing I did was to smell it, and I gave him attention, letting him know that I recognize his presence here and I see him, and I'm also letting myself understand that he is here. Because what mindfulness will do, like with my own environment right now, with the noise coming from my environment, it's easy to get distracted if one is not mindful. Hence why I would let you guys know in my section right now that, okay, I'm attending to someone, or I'll also tell you guys understand that you should pardon the noise coming from my background. You know, I'm being mindful of what is happening around me and also bringing it into the core of what I am doing right now so as not to allow it affect what is happening. But yeah, another thing is understanding self-care, which is what we are here to do today. I needed to let us know about mental wellness earlier before we delve into self-care, because we are looking at the role of self-care in mental wellness. That is, what does self-care do in mental wellness? What is the things that self-care contains for mental wellness? You know, so first off, it's good for us to know what self-care means, right? And here, for me, self-care is an intentional act of attending to one's physical, emotional, and mental needs. Self-care is a pattern of activities initiated and performed by individuals to either preserve or enhance their well-being while promoting their health potential. Right. So self-care here is telling you that you're not only caring for your physical body. Sorry, please. I'm sorry. Sorry. Thank you. Self-care is an intentional act of attending to one's physical, emotional, and mental needs. Right. So how can self-care help us with our mental illness, or what role does self-care play? Self-care is helping you know that you're not doing only a physical activity. This definition is letting you understand that you're not just doing an emotional activity, and you're not just doing a mental activity. You're doing an holistic activity, like I have told us earlier when I was talking about dimensions of mental wellness. When you are applying self-care for your mental health, it is holistically. You are looking at it across every facet of your life. You're looking at it across different roles that you are performing. You're looking at it in your work. You're looking at it in your job. You're looking at it in your work. You're looking at it in your church. You're looking at it as a parent, as a child, as an employee. You're looking at self-care as an entrepreneur. You're looking at self-care as your as in for your own self, for your internal mind. So that's why I adopted this approach, which I saw and I've seen that, it's actually what we do. So the dimensions of self-care that we have are internal versus external and active versus passive. That means whenever you are looking at what self-care is doing for you in those 8 dimensions that we mentioned earlier, you want to look at it as what is doing for you internal versus external. That means you're looking at it as what it does for you inside and what it does for you outside, over if it is active or if it is passive. What you're doing, is it attending to your mind? Is it task that fulfills you? So there was a professor that I listened to, and when she talked about this, because I saw, she worked on a research with self-care for Lindsdale, and when she was talking about how self-care applies internally, she mentioned that, you're looking at it from the perspective of a cup. So self-care is meant to fill your cup for you to be able to pour outside, right? You're supposed to fill your cup. You're supposed to nourish yourself internally for you to be able to give externally. And also, you're supposed to use internal components to nourish yourself to be able to give to others. Or you nourish yourself with things from your environment to be able to give back to others externally, or also to be able to give to yourself. So it's a four-wheel. I'm going to take that again. It's very important. Internal versus external, meaning that you have a cup. It's starting from inside. First, you fill your cup, and there are ways you can fill your cup. You can fill your cup from within yourself with activities by taking care of yourself to nourish your within. You do things to nourish your within, either with activities, with mental activities, or with internal activities, or you do things to nourish yourself from within with external activities, right? And when you're nourished, you're able to give to others. So you can also nourish yourself, which is the second part, by using external activities to oh, sorry, I think I mixed that up. Sorry. Let me take that again. Apologies. Internal versus external, meaning that you are using things to nourish yourself from within, or you're using things to nourish yourself from outside to be able to give to others. That's the bottom line of what I am saying for internal versus external. Then also for passive and active means that active activities are things that you can do physically. We all have different things that appeals to us physically. People like to watch movies, people like to exercise, people like to do skillful activities, and you find out that is a form of self-care for them. Some people clean, some people do pottery, some people paint, some people box. Those are active activities that can be used to nourish you internally, but they are external care. Then passively, you can relax, watch a movie. Passively, you can take a massage, right? And these passive activities can nourish you internally for yourself, and also they are external activities that you can use to nourish yourself. I'll give more context to it. Here, I said that it focuses on your psychological, emotional, and spiritual well-being when you are attending to internal self-care, right? When you're doing anything to nourish yourself internally, you are focusing on your psychological growth, you are learning psychologically, and you are flourishing psychologically. Remember, I told you that I believe that mental wellness is a learning, like it's for to make you learn, for to make you grow, and for to make you flourish. You are learning, you're growing, and you're flourishing. So whatever internal activity that you are doing is focused on psychological, emotional, and spiritual well-being that are bringing you to learning, bringing you to grow, and bringing you to flourish. So when you do mindfulness, journaling, or therapy, you are learning, you are growing, and you are flourishing. That is the end goal. So internal self-care as an internal activities means that you can read books, you can learn, you can read books, you can focus on your emotions, understand the type of emotions that you are processing, and journal them down so that you can learn what you are, learn how you respond to things, learn what you are responding to, and how it impacts you. And by the time you are able to recognize that, you will be able to grow. And when you grow, you will be able to flourish. Then flourishing in this point emotionally means that those things that used to be issues for you anger, irritability, and whatnot, or excessive sadness leading to depression, instability with moods. When you are able to identify these things, you've learned it, you've grown because you've understood what is happening with you and you've grown. At the end of the day, you will flourish because those things are no longer going to be there. They're no longer going to be things that you are struggling with. That is what internal self-care is to provide you, right? And when you take external self-care, or you apply the external approach to self-care, that means you are taking physical things to nourish yourself. You are using physical things to learn, you're using physical things to grow, and you're using physical things to flourish. That means you are exercising, you are using nutrition, eating appropriately. That means in the course of doing those things, you are understanding what works for you. Okay, so today I carry 5 kg. I know, and I experience excessive pain. I know that, oh, maybe 5 kg is not for me, but maybe then I decide to take a walk and I find out that I came back feeling relaxed. I was able to sleep. Then I can adopt walking as my exercise practice. That means I have learned something. And in the course of doing that, I am growing because after a while, I get to understand my pattern and I get to know when and where I need to walk, where and when I need to walk, and how I need to adopt walking into my life. Then at the end of the day, I flourish, right? So to look at self-care as active, most times, external self-care are active care. We can also have passive self-care as external care as well. So active and passive self-care can be external self-care that we adopt. Meaning that if you look at what I have on my screen for active self-care, these are things that require conscious effort. You need to attend to them. You need to do them. You need to ensure that you are engaging your mind while you are doing them. You are engaging your body. You are engaging yourself when you are performing active self-care. When you are passively caring for yourself, you are watching a movie to relax you, not to engage you, because some people watch movies to engage. So that's why we started by understanding that you need to know how these things would attend to you internally. Because at the end of the day, it is going to do some internal work in you. So passively you watch a movie, it will relax you internally, even if as though it is an external activity nourishing you internally, but passively. You get a massage, it's an external activity, but you are not really engaging in it. You are passively engaging in it. You are not using a lot of effort, and it is nourishing you internally. I hope that part is clear. I'd like to see what we have to say before I move to the next session, because it is important for me that we understand these aspects that I just explained. I know we have questions. We will save questions for later if Temi Lade will permit us. But I want to know what we have gotten concerning this area that I just explained. So Omobola said it is clear. Chikazalu said active self-care requires conscious effort and full engagement. Sanya JB said very clear. Chikazalu said fill your cup by doing things to nourish yourself with either external or internal activities to be able to give to others or for yourself. Very clear. Okay, thank you guys. I'll still move forward. Thank you. So, the role of self-care in mental wellness, which is our topic. I'm going to go back to this quickly, right? having understood the dimensions of how you want to care for yourself, right? And also knowing what self-care means. What does it do to you? Self-care is going to support the core values of mental wellness. The core values of mental wellness is that it would help you. It will help you to focus, and it will provide you with holistic approach. Also, it will teach you and help you in managing stress. Self-care will teach you and help you in managing stress. Self-care will give you opportunity to engage in social connection. It will teach you if you do not know, because like I said, I am looking at it from learning, growing, and flourishing. Remember, that's what I told you that mental wellness should look like. And when you're applying self-care to mental wellness, it should always help you to learn, to grow, and also to flourish. So in adopting self-care, you are connecting socially, you are developing healthy coping mechanisms, and using self-care does not necessarily mean you have a mental health condition. That means you don't necessarily have to be mentally ill, right? You don't necessarily have to be battling depression or going through depression or having schizophrenia or any of those serious things. It's just that you want to live a healthy life. So self-care would help you to fulfill all of these core values, right? Then it will also support your physical health. Self-care will help you build a healthy mindset. Self-care would encourage healthy relationship, and self-care would aid mental health recovery for anyone that is going through any form of mental health issues, for any form of mental distress, for any form of mental discomfort. Incorporating self-care into any mental illness that you are managing would also aid quick recovery, right? So what are the types of self-care? These are things that we know, right? And I'm sure some of you have also written things that are applicable for you, which I'd like us to drop in the comment section. I would read them alongside with what I have here. I would like to know, I told you earlier that I would ask you when I need you to write any of your stuff in the comment section. So one of those things I would like to know is what self-care methods you adopt. These are the type of self-care that I have researched and I've seen and, cuts across different facets of life, cuts across different race and tribe. So emotional self-care, journaling, therapy, gratitude. Physical self-care, exercise, sleep, nutrition. Social self-care, time with loved ones. Social self-care, time in the woods, time on the beach, time with community that you appreciate, time with ASADS. Mental self-care, reading, positive thinking, which is a different ballgame entirely. I don't know if we have time to afford us to delve into positive thinking, negative thought pattern and whatnot, but mental self-care affords you to think positively. If you are someone that you entertain a lot of negative thoughts, one way you can care for your mind is that you will be thinking positively. And the reason why you find out that people were talking about mental self-care, the only thing that should be there is the reading and positive thinking. No. Like I mentioned earlier, your mind is like a driver for every other area of your body, every other area of your life, which was why we looked at the 8 dimensions of mental wellness, which also touches other things aside from mental, mind, brain. Another way you can care for yourself is professional self-care. You know, seek therapy, seek work-life balance. Take time to rest. Take time away from work. Take time away from that task. You are on a project right now, is daunting. You are not able to make a headway. Take time away from that project. Spend time with yourself. Do some self-care activities. Then come back to it. You find out that you are able to attend to it better. This is self-explanatory. So I'm going to quickly look at what we have. Hey, nice. Saying no. Self-care teaches you how to manage it. Self-care teaches you social engagement. Someone said, saying no, setting boundaries. These are self-care and important. Important. Very important. Thank you. I'm moving on to practical self-care strategies. You need to know that self-care strategies begin with self-awareness and continuous reassessment of yourself against your own values. If you notice, I've been mentioning values. That's a different ballgame entirely as well, but it's very important that as an individual, you should have values that guide your life. Personal values. Values, like I tell my clients or people that come to therapy with me, that values are things that you lay your foundation. I mean, that the foundation of your life, that other things are laid upon. The building block of your life that you lay every other thing upon. So you need to have a personal value. These are things that when you want to compromise and you look at your values, it keeps you in check. Values are things that when you are excited and you want to just be erratic and do anyhow, that later you might regret, it will keep you in check. So whatever self-care strategy you want to adopt needs to be something that will be in alignment with your values. And these self-care strategies are things that you should continuously reassess against your values. You put your values here, your self-care here. Maybe today you do exercise. In this season of your life, exercise works fantastically well for you. In the next season, you bring in journaling and you check your values. Does it align? Then you adopt it. Or you check going to social gatherings. You bring in social gatherings and you want to meet new communities. That's something that you want to adopt as self-care in this year. And you check your values. Does it align? Do you see yourself managing it very well? With self-awareness, remember, self-awareness. Do you know yourself? Do you know how you engage socially? Do you think it's something that would flourish you? Is it something that will help you learn, something that will help you grow, and something that will help you flourish? If it isn't going to align with your self-awareness and align with your values, then you want to re-strategize on your self-care. Knowing that you're going to start small and you're going to be realistic about it. Knowing also that it is something that you can afford and it's something that you can do carefully for yourself. You can do freely for yourself. It's something that you're not going to have to break the bank for. It's something that you're not going to have to stress yourself about. It's something that should not come and stress you because it is self-care. So you shouldn't be stressing when you're caring for yourself. Do you understand? You're right. Then another thing which I've seen in practice that is important is leveraging your self-care on your culture and your religious influences. It's cheap, it's affordable, and it's easy to use. I'd like to know what you guys think about that. But on your culture and religious influences. Don't worry about me putting a faith-based support group in brackets because that's just an example. But just think of what I just said. Leveraging your self-care, leveraging how you want to care for yourself on your cultural and religious influences, on your cultural values, on things available for you in your culture. Things are available for you with your religious practices. Leveraging your self-care on that is free, is affordable, and it is stress-free. Let me see. I see something Chika said absolutely right. I use mostly, especially my religious practices. Okay, sorry. All right. That's fine. Absolutely. So, overcoming barriers to self-care. There are barriers to self-care. Time management. You know, we see self-care as something that is here and we need to go and meet it there. Like you need to, in as much as you need to strategize for it, you need to strategize for it. You know, we see it as something you need to plan and you need to make it seem like, you know, you've raised the bar, that by the time you want to do it is daunting, is stressful and tiring. But when you see it as a daily routine, when you see it as something that is easy, something that, when your self-care is easy, when it is free, when it is accessible to you find out that you're able to put it within your daily task. Take, for example, now you want to journal at the end of every day how your day was like for you and how you feel you can be better in the day. You know, it's something you want to manage your time with it. You can fix that into any time of the day, in as much as it aligns with yourself, with who you are and with your values. For me, that aligns with who I am and with my values. I like to write. I like to jot things down. I like to know how things are working out for me. So I would easily want to do a quick journal, either when I wake up in the morning or at night. And just for a few minutes, I'm not spending so much time there. Some people use devotionals. Some people do exercises in the morning. I listened to a celebrity that said that as quick as 4 a.m. in the morning is awake, not because he could not sleep. He sleeps early so he can get up as 4 a.m. so that he can exercise before he starts his day. He says that the early hours of that morning is very important for him and it helps him to focus. So at 4 a.m., he says he is able to function higher for what he wants to do concerning exercise. It works for him. Will you try it and you feel stressed? You might, and you might not, but it works for him. So when you time yourself, you know yourself and you understand the time that works for you, and you prioritize it and put it into your daily routine, you know, you've overcome a barrier concerning how you care for yourself. Addressing stigma, changing societal perception of mental health. When you care for yourself every day, you know, and people are seeing you put in activities that they have questioned and they have seen that it's for secluded sets of people or it cannot be done. You are addressing particular stigma concerning how people care for themselves. You are addressing particular stigma for how people perceive mental health. Because like I said, mental health is not mental illness. When you adopt applicable self-care practices, applicable means that you can easily apply it. When you adopt those type of self-care practices, you are changing what people think about mental health. People will not think that, oh, it's because something is wrong with her that she's journaling, or it's because something is wrong with him that he's exercising. It's because his doctor said. No, it's something that everyone should do because our society is very challenging enough for us that we need to have things that we use in caring for ourselves. Also, another thing is financial constraints. And remember I said earlier that whatever you adopt as your self-care practices should be affordable and it should be free or free. Should be something within your means of affordability, it should be something that you can easily do. And it should not lay any form of strain on your finances. It shouldn't, not just your finances, all the other dimensions of mental wellness should not be affected by what you want to adopt as self-care. Another thing is building consistency. Like we mentioned, if you manage it in time management, it is a habit you want to develop. It is something you want to do daily for yourself. So if you are putting maybe 1 minute a day in that thing that you have considered as self-care, you're taking time out, a break to just take a walk. You're taking time out you're taking screen time every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, every 1 hour, whatever works for you. It is self-care. Because at the end of the day, screen time also, as a way, it affects our mental wellness. I'm charging us to make self-care a priority in the smallest of ways. Remembering that when your cup is full, you'll be able to pour to others. Remembering that you are able to give fully what you have when you adopt those strategies as your own. You're able to teach others when you have practicalized something. When you have done something, you are able to teach, you're able to easily give that. You know, in therapy, okay, so I said something during an Instagram live this week that I'm very much in love with the word evidence-based practices. Because in psychology or in clinical practices, we use evidence-based strategies, right? And the reason why I like it is because these are things that people have proven as true. Just like the internal versus external approach, the dimensions for self-care that I shared with you, rather, just like those dimensions for self-care, these are evidence-based approach. These are things that people have proven as true. And when you heard me talk about it, you find out that it's easy to apply and it makes sense. So whatever you're doing, remember that you are going to be teaching someone. Other people are going to be learning from you. And it is also going to teach you, grow you, and flourish you. Also, you can serve as a form of encouragement to others to adopt self-care practices, actively or passively. Actively by telling them to do it, passively by when you do it, others will pick it up. Meaning that people learn by observation, which is another proven theory in psychology, observational learning. Kids, it was used to explain how kids learn, that kids learn by imitation. When you do something, they observe you and imitate it. Observe you and imitate it. That theory is not only applicable to children, it's also applicable to adults. Consciously or unconsciously, you are picking something from that your spouse, from that your best friend, from that your sister. Hence why mindfulness comes into play. When you are mindful of what you surround yourself with, of what you are doing, of how you do it, of whom you are talking to, of how you are talking to people, of when and where you talk about certain things, you are teaching others as well. I don't know if that makes sense to you. And also, lastly, seek professional help when needed. When you see that this thing, it don't pass my power, I don't fit do am again, seek professional help. Because the first realization to recovery, the first realization to help is understanding that you need help. Temilade, I leave it all to you.
Hi, Adora. Thank you so much. That was really insightful. I mean, it was really wonderful to know what stress is all about and having a deep definition on how to manage our stress. So moving on, it's time for a question and answer. If you have any question, you kindly raise up your hand in the chat box, then we'll take it up from there. I'm sure we all have questions, so feel free to ask. Our speaker is there to answer all our questions. If you have any question, can you raise up your hands? Okay, we'll be starting with JB. Kindly unmute yourself. Yeah,
Hi,
are you ready for question
JB.
and answer section?
Yes, I am. I am. Thank you, Timmy.
All
So
right.
JB can unmute herself.
JB, you can go ahead. Can you unmute yourself?
She said the host muted her, so I think the host needs to unmute JB.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay, my question is, how can we encourage individuals who struggle with self-care, especially those who feel guilty or overwhelmed by it? How do they prioritize their mental well-being?
Thank you, JB. That's a nice question.
Thank
So
you.
please help me mute yourself because I can hear a noise from your background. All right. So how can you prioritize? How can you encourage someone to prioritize? Remember that when I was talking, I said there is need for self-awareness. And also understanding values. What self-awareness means is that you know yourself in and out. And knowing yourself is not just once. Because if you notice when I was talking about self-care, I also mentioned that there is need to also re-strategize, reassess your self-care at every given point in time. So when you also, this applies to the knowledge of yourself. So at every point in time, you need to update the knowledge of yourself because life experiences are teaching you different facets of who you are. So for you to encourage someone, that you need to let the person know that they need to have a knowledge of themselves. That's the first form of self-care. Self-awareness is the first form of self-care. And how can you encourage someone to know themselves? You teach them. You can teach them, like I mentioned by you passively, attending to self-care strategies. And when you are passively attending to self-care strategies, that's one of the easiest. That's why I'm going by it first. When you're passively attending to self-care strategies, you find out that people are able to adopt some things. Even if they are not adopting what you're doing, they're seeing that, okay, JB is doing something that makes sense for her. I think I would like to do something that makes sense for me. Then they start to explore themselves. Me, I cannot lift dumbbell, but I can walk. Me, I cannot journal, but I can do audio recording of my day. Oh, me, I can't exercise, but I can just dance in the morning. Because they are looking at you, but they are adopting what works for them. So passively is one of the easiest way to encourage someone. Then picking up on the point you mentioned that this person might be struggling for, rephrasing what you said. If someone is struggling, you want to be empathic with their struggle. If you can be empathic with their struggle, you want to empathize with them first. Let them know that you are there. You see them. You see them. There's something that is making them unable to carry out that self-care strategy or be able to attend to themselves. So you want them to see that you see them, for them to be able to open up to you as to what their challenge is before you can now proffer solutions as to what they can adopt. And when you're providing solution for people as to what they can adopt for self-care, please let us understand that it's something that someone has to discover themselves. So you can encourage them to, why not try to just know what works for you. But first, remember the steps. Empathize with them so that they understand that you see them and you recognize that they are struggling, so that when they are comfortable enough, they can come to you to let you know what their struggles are. And once they open up their struggles to you, if it's something that does not need professional help, you want to let them know that they can discover what works for them because they've already opened up to you. So you let them know that they can discover themselves. They can start by discovering themselves. All right. I hope that helps. I'm seeing something in the comment section from Omobola. She says, "Thank you, Miss Adura, for the presentation. I have learned not to wait until I get very stressed before engaging in self-care because taking any self-care step for me when I'm stressed can feel more stressful. But I really do struggle with time management. Do you have any time tricks for self-care?" All right. So I'm going to go back to share this with you for time tricks. Remember, I said building consistency as one of the ways of overcoming barriers. For time management, build consistency by making it a daily habit. And that's first for breaking the bulk or the bigger barrier of time, which is when do I start? Right? You start by choosing it as a daily habit. So that's you've chosen a day, which is every day. Then what? Don't make him shout. You can leave him to come, but I just don't want him to shout. Thank you. Sorry about that. So you can do it every day. So when doing it every day now, what do? You choose what's convenient for you in that day. And you make it a thing that you want to do every day. How do you make it a thing that you want to do every day? You see the value in that thing. When something aligns with your personal value, that means you have a reason. You've given yourself a reason why you are doing that thing because it aligns with your personal value. Remember, your personal values are things, when I mentioned that when you check anything against them, it keeps you in check. So when you check this self-care against your best personal value, it keeps you in check that, yes, this is something I can do. This is something that is important to me. This is something that will help me showcase my personal value. Let me use myself as an example. I'm a kind person. I value kindness. So these are the things I tell myself, that I am kind, I love God, and I love honesty. So in caring for myself, I want to ensure that I am kind to myself. I am exhibiting the love of God to myself and others. So let me start again. I'm ensuring that I am kind to myself and I am kind to others. I am exhibiting the love of God to myself and to others. And I am being honest with myself and with others, right? And now I want to adopt a self-care strategy for myself. That self-care strategy has to be something that would ensure that these values I'm showcasing my values always. You get? And it's also nourishing me in my values, with my values. That means it's giving me kindness, it's giving me the love of God, and it's giving me honesty. It's giving me, and it's going to help me in turn give back to others. That means for me now, like I mentioned, I love to write. So journaling and taking daily guide journals is nourishing me and is making me kind to myself so that it can help me to be kind to others. It's also making me honest with myself because I'm journaling things that are bringing out traits in myself that I want to work on, or things in myself that I appreciate that can nourish me. So, and I'm doing it every day. And I've already chosen that, okay, I'm going to do this when I wake up in the morning or when I wake up at night. So for time management, going back to your question, it has to align with your values. And when it aligns with your values, you will be able to know how to incorporate it into your daily activity, if that's what you want, or your weekly activity, if that's what you want, or your monthly activity or yearly activity. I hope that answers you, Miss Mobolanle. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, we have one question in the chat box. The question says, what is the difference between mental health, mental well-being, and mental wellness?
Okay, I can help because this is beautiful because I when I was introspecting on this topic, right, I did come through that what I asked myself that what's the meaning of mental health and mental wellness. I didn't do mental well-being, but I can come in with that. But I'm going to go to what I wrote here, then I will explain on it. Are we together? Thank you. So I came to understand that mental health is your overall psychological and emotional well-being, right? Then mental wellness is the what's it called? Is the core values that I helped us to put together. Mental health is looking at the presence and absence of any mental illness. So it's looking at your emotional states, your psychological states, and is understanding, is this person okay in their health, or is this person not okay in their health? Is this person ill, or is this person distressed, or is this person healthy? That's what mental health is telling you. This person is healthy, this person is not healthy. Because if you do not have health, that means you have illness. That's what mental health is saying in layman terms. But in mental wellness is looking at holistic approach as to how a person is fulfilled, is satisfied. You know, wellness is satisfaction in different areas of our lives. My battery is running low. I need to recharge. I'm sorry about that. So wellness is looking at I'm sorry, please. Give me a minute to be able to attend to us better. All right. Thank you. So, sorry. I'm with you now. So wellness is looking at the dimensions, like I mentioned. Did you see my rhymes? Sorry. So wellness is looking at this. This is wellness. This is mental wellness. That all of these areas of your life are flourishing. You are learning in those areas. You are growing in those areas. And you are flourishing in those areas. That's wellness. But health is trying to mental health is looking at where a person stands in terms of the health of their mind. You know, in practice, like I mentioned, they will say it is the presence or absence of mental illness. Does this person have mental illness or not? So for well-being, I'm going to be candid with us. Mental well-being is looking at I feel that's like, I'm looking at it from English perspective now. Well-being, that means it's a continuous state. It's just emphasizing on the continuity of keeping well in your mind, or maintaining or utilizing the core values of mental wellness for your mind or for your overall state of being whole. Like wholeness. Well-being is looking at the wholeness of someone's health of the mind. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, we can say entertain one more question. So if you have any question, you can either ask or drop it in the chat box. Okay, I have one question for you, Adura.
Alrighty.
Okay, so is there a strategic practice or a fixed practice for maintaining effective mental well-being? I mean, sometimes in period of uncertainty, let me say a perfect way of maintaining the mental well-being?
Is there a perfect way of maintaining?
Yes, your mental well-being, or a strategy something that you can do that your stress won't keep coming over and over again? Is there a perfect way or a strategy for maintaining that?
Okay, so I think that we're looking at, I said that well-being is continuity, like being, becoming, doing, like it's continuity of the core values of wellness. And it is looking at how you are balanced. So you are asking me now that, is there a way of staying balanced in your mind? By staying balanced, you need to put in all the self-care practices. Because if we start talking about having resilience, having healthy relationship, we've covered that in the self-care practices. Yes. All right. Sorry about that. We've covered that in the self-care practices. If we keep looking at what you need to do. So for you to stay balanced, practice self-care. And remember, I didn't talk about self-care from just the activities we needed to do. I talked about self-care from a holistic perspective or what wellness requires. And I talked about self-care from the dimension of internal versus external, active versus passive, right? So to maintain that stability of well-being, adopt a self-care that gives you a sense of purpose in what you are doing. Because well-being is looking at staying balanced, staying purposeful, improving on all of these areas of your life with self-care. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. Because to me, I sound like I'm making sense. Mm? Do you get what I'm saying? Timmy, you are muted already.
Oh, yes, I am. You can go ahead. I understand what you're saying.
Yes. So I already gave us what to do when it comes to mental wellness. And I said, I'm looking at well-being from the definition of being, continuity, right? I'm just rephrasing it again so that we know that whatever we have discussed today covers for what you need to do for mental well-being. Maintaining the balance is ensuring that you understand yourself and you are adopting the appropriate measures for different dimensions of your mental wellness. Your spiritual, educational, psychological, and all of those 8 dimensions I gave you, financial, occupational, maintaining that balance in those facets of wellness. There are facets of wellness. There are areas of wellness you need to maintain balance. So apply your doings in those areas of wellness.
Right. I've seen a question in the chat box. Someone asked if you can help with the slides. I don't know about that.
We can have it. It's everything I said is most of the things I said, rather, I explained them. The slide is just a guide. So yeah, I'll share it with the ASADS team, and the ASADS team can do the needful.
Right. Okay. If we have any more questions, please kindly raise up your hand before we end this section. Is there any other question? Anybody? I don't think we have much question. I don't think we have. I don't think we have any more questions.
All right.
Okay, can you just
Okay.
summarize, give us a summary just to wrap all of this? I mean, something you can go with, just a wrap up.
So what I will say is for you to care for yourself, or the role that self-care plays in mental health. starts with you knowing yourself, understanding what you want to adopt before you can now infuse it to balance it with who you are and what your values are. Like I mentioned, everything a person is based on what they have adopted as a value, consciously and unconsciously. So it's better we just have a conscious knowledge of what our values are so that we can build strategically on what and how we can care for ourselves. That's all I said.
All right. Thank you very much. I mean, this was truly insightful and very helpful. Okay, so I also want to appreciate everyone for their active participation and for everyone for joining. Your presence is highly appreciated. So I would like to call on Mr. Dari. Yes, I would like to call on Mr. Dari to give us a vote of thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Adura Lair. It was such an insightful session. And I know like everyone can really tell based on how engaged the session has been. So the certificates go for 3,000 naira. The e-certificates for those of us that are interested. It's not compulsory. Just for us to just see how we can just raise funds as a non-for-profit. And also, don't forget, you can join us in the Telegram community or the WhatsApp community. And please follow us on Instagram at ASADS_EHI. They took down our former Instagram page, so you can follow us on there as well. So every second Sunday of the month, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we'll definitely have the session. You can also follow Adura on IG, right? _MS_Norman, NORMAN. She also has her own private practice. You can reach out to her for your session. Adura is an amazing person. Don't just take my word for it. I'm sure you guys can testify with how much you put into the session as well. But the most important thing is just for us to just practice everything that she's spoken about, think on everything that has been said. We're currently live on YouTube, so we'll send you the point and also send you the recording as well, so that you can always go back to it as well. And I sincerely wish you guys all the best in everything you're doing. Thank you, everyone. A big shout out to all the team members from the mental health training department and all the extra people that came to help out, from Grace to Temilade. I know you guys, this is not your department, but thank you so much for making this event successful. And also thank you so much, Adura Leary. I know how busy you are for showing up. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, and to enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.